sure. Remember, there's 2 exits. It may not be the one you came in on, okay? And the restrooms are that way, that way and that way, just in case.
And the desks are under the seat.
There's no,
That's right.
take the oxygen.
Right, yeah.
Well, first
Yes.
in this chair.
Yeah, what I do is I always give it to the child who has the most earning potential first, before I give it to the next child that has the least earning potential. But my girls are pretty even, so it's a hard decision. Anyway, bad joke. So we're going to talk about lead generation, and hopefully I'll hit on a few new things. They're always good. When you see somebody on the street you haven't seen for a while, I actually just saw one of my clients told you about, it was, hey, Paul, what's new? It wasn't, hey, what's the same since the last time I saw you? Because nobody really cares and probably didn't care the last time they asked. So everybody's looking for something new. I find that in information, what's new to one person could be old hat to another. So the good news that if you hear something that is new to you, awesome. If you hear something that you've heard before, you've heard me say before, know that the reason why I'm saying that is not because I don't have any new material. It's really because it probably works. So latch on to that. I mean, if you want to know what's exactly new, I'll tell you. So in social media, what's new is the social network called Musical.ly, which is mainly kids from 12 to 13. They just launched a live stream. So now you're a 12 or 13-year-old or 14-year-old who's on Musical.ly. You're not there because you don't understand that, and you're not going to sing karaoke for your friends on social media. They have a place now where they can live broadcast. So that's actually new. In case you wanted to know what is new, that's totally what's new. Well, maybe she can sing something about Club Z, and you can use Musical.ly as a lead generator because she's singing. The future's so bright I have to wear shades or something like that. And your tutoring was what did it. So
we shouldn't do karaoke?
Probably not. I know I won't. But
Speaking for yourself?
as far as I know, those contain water, not vodka. So we won't be. I'm guessing we won't be doing much karaoke. All right. So again, if you hear me repeat something you've heard before, or read in one of my newsletters, the good part about this is interaction Q&A. So. This is definitely something I've said before, so it does kind of give up a little resolution that, but you know what happens? Whenever I do a PowerPoint, it usually is the ugliest PowerPoint, and it's really just to cue my own thoughts. But yeah, we can turn the lights off, turn the lights down a little bit. There we go. A little better. Yeah, a projector, absolutely. So you give something up, but it's all good. But anyway, this is all not important, all right? And neither is Harry and Lloyd. They're not important either. So, but here's the first thing you have to remember with online marketing and lead generation online. You have a few options. You could be found. You can be found on the moment of truth when someone's actually looking for something, and that's obviously a good strategy. And typically, it's not enough. So. On Google, obviously you can also buy ad placement. And you can buy ad placement through AdWords Express. You can buy ad placement through Google's more robust ad platform. And you could we'll talk about landing pages and things like that, and you could be there for search as one of your lead generation strategies. The takeaway on this is actually something that Chuck was talking about, that organic search combined with Google Ads is actually a pretty good strategy to monopolize more of the first page of Google, which is something my friend Kyle talks about, is seeing Google like a monopoly board, and when someone's actually looking, you're there. So the takeaway is, as far as organic search, the thing you do is you test your rankings, you see where your rankings are. That's obviously a report or a test that we can do, but that's where you start. Never buy search engine services or anything like that until you actually get a report that shows you, and of course trust the source of the report, but a report that actually shows you where you rank for a specific keyword. And how you think about your specific keywords is you say, if someone was searching for this particular keyword or phrase and they found my website or my landing page, that could lead to ringing the register. Because I know that people I've talked to in the past, whether I said, how'd you hear about us? And they said, well, I asked my friend about a good wedding photographer. There's a keyword and phrase. It was just a referral. The bridesmaid asked, because now she was engaged 6 months later, and she said, "Hey, Sally, who was that photographer you used? Because your pictures were awesome." That's no different than her, that's a search. It's a long tail or a short tail, whatever you want to call it. She's still searching for that information. So it could be a referral source, whatever that keyword and phrase is. You list those out, and then you list out the area of where you want to be found, and then have a test. That's how you determine the organic side of where you show up, and obviously have your Google listing and going for reviews and things like that. And then the other side to balance that out is, will you do some search ads as well, to diversify your placement? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then obviously Google also gives you the display network, which falls more in the line of the interruption marketing side of it. So that's the first step. So when these things are working together, now no longer are these ads on the side of Google's homepage, right? So now on desktop, Google got rid of those to make them look more like mobile, have it be seamless integration between desktop and mobile. But this is where you're, somebody's searching for carpet cleaning, and this is actually a situation where we do the website, and actually this is actually one of Kyle's clients, and this is their ad in their carpet cleaning in Manchester, and there he is right at the top, and that's an ad placement. Now again, this goes into what we call intent marketing, right? So someone has the intent because their carpets, they know they need to be cleaned. So that some of you have been in my seminars in the past or talks in the past. I always encourage, draw a line down a sheet of paper and say, what are we doing to capitalize on intent? And then what are we doing on the other side of the business, which is actually interruption marketing, which we're actually going to talk about too in a few different ways. And intent is actually going to be shorter than interruption, right? Because interruption can take place in a lot of different ways. When we're walking into the gallery to hustle the art, that's an interruption to that gallery owner, which is why it's at first frowned upon. But if you have a relevant message, a quality message, that message is going to get through. Okay? All right. And then what I do sometimes I look at the page that people came to, right? And I make sure that the PowerPoint delivers on that. So all those bullets is why you're here. It will be covered here. It's the truth in advertising. So anyway, that's just the intent side, and could be a good strategy. You just have to do it right. Here's one of the key principles to doing this correctly. Think about a landing page strategy. This is actually a landing page. This is not the full website. You can see there's no additional buttons, and you can't read this anyway because, truth in advertising, the guy was right at Best Buy. He said, you will lose some resolution. But that's okay because we're not going to read these words anyway. So this is a landing page. This is a desktop landing page. On a desktop landing page, you need to have your key call to action here in the top right. No exceptions. Even on your website, right, your main company website, your call to action needs to be on the top right. And desktop is not dead. You can look at your analytics, your stats, and you can see how many visitors you're actually getting via desktop versus mobile. We track this for numerous clients, and the only folks that are above 50% are restaurants are above 50% of mobile. So they have sometimes 60% of all their traffic coming from smartphones. So it's almost like when you build a restaurant for a website for a restaurant these days, it's mobile first. It always it has been for a long time. But it isn't even mobile first or desktop first. It's just get the message out, get the content there that's going to deliver the message. But this is totally a desktop landing page, and obviously it has a lot of elements of a regular website, as far as the different things that he's doing. But the key thing is it has this call to action, and this leads into something we're talking about. They're requesting a free quote. That's the offer. So when you think about your offers, your offer has to be really relevant to the context of the media. So for instance, people are looking on Google for carpet cleaning. they see the ad, they end up on this page, they're looking for they really don't want anything else but to know how much. So there's no need for anything beyond what we would call this a transactional offer. Meaning it's an offer that basically precedes a transaction, meaning this is how much it's going to be. Does that make sense? You want to know the difference between transactional offers and consultative offers. Big difference, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Hopefully I'll entertain some questions on that. But the free quote is totally a transactional offer, and it's okay if you have the resources, you have the help, whatever the case may be, to test varying landing pages, to test varying offers, to see which one really hits.
Yeah.
Okay?
A/B split testing.
Well, yeah, A/B split testing for sure, but just to have a little bank of things you can kind of whip out, because I used to be a former martial arts school owner in my day, I have a pretty nice sized stable of martial arts school clients, and I encourage them. The big movement in the industry, in the martial arts world over the last 5 years, was to get someone to pay for a trial online, meaning to pay $19 for 2 weeks, right, and actually sign up literally and get their credit card. And the theory behind that, and actually it's true, is that they're more committed because they've given you a credit card and they've paid for this trial. They're a serious prospect, more likely to come in rather than someone that just says, "Hey, I'll take a free lesson." Right? Does that make sense? But here's how. Let's use Laura's business as an example. Consultative offer would be for the bride. Right? The bride that needs to sit down. We need to assess her needs. Make sure she's not Bridezilla or whatever the case may be. Right? We need to do all that and have a consultative approach with that. So what would undervalue it would be a free quote, would totally undervalue that, possibly undervalue that, right? More of let's have a sit down, let's have a consultation, let's find out about you. And by the way, that's typically $99, but you can get that now for nothing. Whatever the case may be, right? You have to obviously figure out what's going to be believable for your business. Hey, I'm sure you've all seen it. You've seen the web pages. And you get $10,000 in bonuses just for buying this thing for $50. Are you kidding? Seriously? Like $10,000 in bonuses,
My pillow, buy one, get one free. It's forever,
Yeah.
so it's not the price. The
Yeah.
buy one, get one free price. It's just half the price. It's the real price.
Yeah.
You can't buy just one.
Yeah. Well, but again, you have to have it something that's believable for your business.
So they're selling it, they're making more money because you can only buy 2 at a time.
Yeah. Well, however,
It's pretty smart.
we lose money on every sale, but we make it up in volume. Anybody get that? No. Doesn't work that way, unless you're running a company like Angie's List or something like that, which has never made a profit in 15 years. Never. Okay, so let's go back to Laura's business, right? Because I told you I'd pick on some of you, but here's the consultative approach. Sit down. You got to make sure you find the right photographer, and hey, we need to make sure we're right for you. Anyways, we're going to ask you, these different things, and it's a 30-minute session and whatever. And I would even think about some bullet points. What's covered in that session? What we do. We do this. We do this. We do this. When I used to run martial arts schools, I kind of became, somewhat famous when you become famous in an industry, that means you go to the airport, no one really knows who you are, but if you see someone who's in that industry or was at a conference, they go, "Oh, hey, Mike." So you become famous for like 5 seconds, So one of the things that I did was I created bullet points of what you would actually get on the first lesson. And I created all these things like you learn the 4 laws of focus. So a parent looks at that and goes, 4 laws of focus, what's that? Oh, it's easy. It's called focus your eyes, focus your ears, focus your mind, focus your body. Those are the 4 laws of focus. So in the lesson, we teach that. All right, I said you came here because you want to learn the 4 laws of focus. So here they are. But wouldn't tell them that in the offer. It just kind of piques their curiosity. And then the magic word that stops the bully in his tracks. What's the magic word? It's confidence, actually. If you're confident, you can repel bullies. Now, there it is. There's truth. So what I teach other martial arts schools, that they would ask me, what is this? What are the 4 laws of focus? They would get their curiosity. I can't teach this. I can't advertise this if I don't know what it is. They go crazy. So you would think about this how it applies to your business. You may think about the bullet points that are covered in an informational session. Does that make sense? So when you make that offer, you can go you can go as detailed as possible. Like, we say, hey, free quote. Okay, that's cool. I've worked with solar companies where it's, an on-site solar assessment. Sounds better than free quote if I say on-site solar assessment. Work with painting contractors and I say guaranteed accurate quote. Why? Because most people who dealt with contractors, they all have some horror story, even if it's really not theirs and he just stole it from Uncle Harry, that they were overcharged. The guy came in, he was going to paint this room and he said it was going to be $500, but then he handed him the bill at $700. Everybody has that horror story, even if they didn't really experience it. It's pop culture. So you want to think about different ways to stand out with your offer. So again, just a couple examples, on-site solar assessment, guaranteed accurate quote. All we're doing is taking free quote and putting in there guaranteed accurate. For a free guaranteed accurate quote, for a complimentary guaranteed. You can play around with these words. And here's the beauty about the internet, it's not set in stone. Somebody gets so stressed out about this stuff. It's like, hey, woosah, because you can change it in a month if you want to. We're not etching this in rock. You know what I mean? It's cool. So you want to, you want to play around with these things. Now, still picking on Laura, is basically transactional. Sometimes it's cool to give away the farm, right? Sometimes it's cool to give something away that almost seems too good to be true, right? So in a way, some of you maybe, not that I'm like the ads you see on Facebook where it's funny. It's like, hey, you can have this house and you can have this car too, and then you see the comments. It's like, yeah, and if you get enough people on Facebook to buy your $5 book, yeah, you can have that. About how to, so it's just kind of, that's an ongoing joke of self-development, right? But seriously, this is not like me just using my example, but I hope that when you saw, hey, $29 lunch, we're gonna learn this stuff. Hey, wait a minute, that seems like a really good deal. That was the idea. I wanted it to seem like a really good deal. Not that I don't value my time, or I think that whatever times 5 is, okay, that's acceptable to me. I don't really work hourly, but I wanted you to think that too. Could we price this for $99? Sure, we could have. Could we price it for $10? Yeah, we could do that too. Could it be free? Maybe, right? But again, you want to think about the different elasticity of what's called a transactional offer, okay? Not that this was necessarily an offer, but in a way it was. It was an offer, hey, come do this, and the most valuable thing you have to part with is your time. But getting back and picking on Laura again until someone stands up and say, please pick on me. I would say transactional offer might be something like, maybe it's normally $99 to do the family, but we're doing it right now for for $29 or something like that. Again, don't take that as like I'm saying you should do that, right? Just use it as an example where you can take something and you can drastically underprice it with the idea to get that first transaction from somebody. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Probably very applicable to your business.
And we do that.
Yeah, right.
The registration fee and lower rates in the summer to entice parents.
Yeah, and even doing it at peak season sometimes would really help you stand out as well. So you just want to think about what is it worth for you to get someone to transact with you the first time, because that has some value there. Yes.
Well, that's what I do. Actually, the newspaper advertiser that I've used in the past worked with me on this. And my ongoing offer, which I know is not presented as it should be, but I have a long-standing offer. If they pay for 4 art lessons, then the 5th art lesson is free.
Right.
So they come in the first day, they pay for 4 art lessons. So I've got that little bump of cash.
Right.
And then they actually get 5 for the price of 4. And it's only the first time for new students
Right.
only. And I have to say 99% of the time, people keep going after that because they're hooked after 5 art lessons.
Right. And then one thing you could test, is to actually flip that on its head. But you have to really know the long-term value of your client and your customer. If you're not clear on the long-term value of your customer, and you have to be ready sometimes to be made to feel like you got taken advantage of.
What do you mean flip it? I don't
Flip it on its head and say buy one, get 4 free.
No, I'd never do that.
Well, again,
I've never, it's too much of my time.
Well, but
Price it accordingly?
yeah. Well, one thing you can do again,
Yeah.
anything that is either now again, if it's working, and the numbers are there, the ad spend is returning, right? Then sure, keep doing it. But whenever something stops delivering, you definitely have to be open to changing something and testing something. But it only comes down to, this is why I told Laura, don't take what I'm saying as like, hey, tomorrow let's put up something that says, hey, it's $29 for family photos and it costs her $300 to fulfill it, Hey, yeah, we'll make it up in volume. No, we won't, We'll be out of business in a month, like it's not going to happen that way. But you have to be willing to bend because you have to figure out what is the long-term value of that person. And sometimes it's small numbers you're working with if you're running a small business. My wife and I, mostly her, I just kind of help with things like this. We run a small fitness studio, totally on the side thing. We own the building where it's at too, so we're like the fitness company LLC or corporation pays the real estate company for rent. So it's part of a bigger scheme. But we've done things like, here's December, worst month of the year to sign someone up for fitness. Everybody's going, yeah, I'm eating 6 sandwiches anyway. What the heck? I'll just wait, till January. And that's where you pay the most because everybody's coming in, So our offer one year was $1 for the first month, just $1, to come in. And the normal tuition, fees are $88 a month for unlimited classes. Now you had to do it online, and you also signed up for auto bill. Not in like a shady Microsoft Windows 10 update. Hit the X and you're updated. Which, by the way, Windows 10 is actually a good product, by the way. So I'm kind of glad they tricked me. But anyway, seriously, hit the X one day and then 2 hours later, I'm working on my Chromebook because like, what happened? I'm already set to get things done, and now I can't because my 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. Someone sued Microsoft and won 10 grand. For that, they said Microsoft settled for $10,000. She sued for lost productivity, work, because it actually, whatever, crashed her computer or something too. Because she was running Windows 7. Anyway, just heard that today.
I know a lot of businesses. My dentist happened to my dentist.
Yeah, and some of those software programs won't run with. But anyway, not to get off topic. Forget what I was saying. So $1 in, and it was clear as day. We wanted people to understand that they were going to be billed in 30 days. But the benefit was they can come in and start working out. And then we present that as, hey, listen, even if you get here just 3 times in the next month, at least you're doing something. And it was only $1. Come on.
You can have that extra sandwich.
Exactly. So what happened with that? So what happened with that was, we're not doing it. We only have room for 40 people anyway. It's a small place. So we ran some ads. We lost money on the ads. I think we picked up maybe 6 new members before we said, all right, let's cut it off. And now those are all, only 2 of them followed through. 30 days later, the 88. One of them, 16 months later, whatever because this was 14 into 15, is still around. So sometimes you lose your shirt for, a little bit, but it's all in the name of investing in your business. Now, I'm pretty sure that person also probably got a referral for my wife as well. But the 4 are just, they were there and they just stopped for whatever reason. That's just the nature of any fitness business in general. But you just want to think about how that applies to your business. Don't take what I said and say, hey, you should do 4, 1 and do 4 as like, hey, this is my only idea, or this is it. You have no other options, right? I'm not picking on you. But just in general, you want to just play around. Now, we didn't repeat that offer the next year. I tried to convince my wife to do it. She didn't want to do it. So I'm used to that blowback, by the way. Anyway, so moving on. These guys are cool. If you're going to pick a stock photo, pick a good one. There's a website we just finished up for an insurance agency in Nashua. But again, same idea. This is their main desktop website. And there's obviously their call to action. If you go further down, the call to action repeats again. There's a little video.
I can't read it.
I know, yeah. Well, that's cool. It says request a quote, and that's again congruent to the business. What are you looking for insurance? You're looking for a quote, So, yeah, request a quote. And this is like going to the eye doctor where they just put the drops in your eyes. So just pretend that's what happened. Well, But anyway, so you want to make sure that your whatever you got a landing page that you're using, have multiple landing pages. You know, it's always good to, and here's the other principle too with landing pages. Which ones could be evergreen and just slightly tweaked versus which ones might be seasonal? Like for instance, the landing page for this event, okay? It has to be changed if I do another one in July, right? It has to change to July 30th, or it has to change to, we're gonna cover a different topic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can have landing pages that are either gonna be seasonal, like summer stuff, or ones that are evergreen and can stay.
My art page is evergreen.
Yep. So that's just something you want to keep in mind.
I don't think
No.
I have control of my landing page.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
How do you have multiple landing pages on one website? That's what I don't.
It's easy. You have you basically they're you can do them a few ways. You can do them as subdomain pages,
Okay.
yada yada dot blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
or you can do them as like this is all in fitness slash, right. So there's this is actually the main website of the gym, but this isn't. We're going to talk about transactional offers and just kind of tie up that loose end. And I just wanted to give you a little trick. But we have landing pages, obviously, like the landing page was allinfitness.com/2015 or something like that, would have been the 2015 special. Does that make sense? So basically what we use is we use landing page software, okay?
Or something else.
Yeah, we do. We use lead pages, and that enables, and sometimes we'll design them in HTML depending on what the client wants or what we're trying to accomplish. So lead pages is good, but it doesn't automatically connect to your domain. You know, you might need a little technical help with that. And then sometimes, I mean, they're templated, so it depends on what you're trying to do. You know, so again, anything in all of this is just like in life. You know, like I can clean my house, or I could do a little cleaning and then have someone come in every 2 weeks and do it better than me, or I can totally not touch it ever and have it done every week. Same thing with all this marketing stuff, you know what I mean? You can have a parent who is there every day, a half hour reading to their kid. Like my nephew was staying with us for a while. He was really weak on math. He wasn't going to be permanent with us. It was just a temporary thing. But man, I'm doing flashcards with the kid. You know what I mean? And if the long-term situation is he going to be here and then he's struggling next year in math, probably need to bring in the tutor at this point, and still do. So the same thing with marketing, right? It's like, you know, you can't do everything yourself, that's for sure. So you want to just obviously be strategic about where you bring in your partners. So this is a transactional offer that's a standing offer on this web page. Okay, this is up top is pretty cool. This is the site we tested with putting an autoplay video. Plays on, you can't see it, but it plays on silent. Never let your videos just start playing anymore. That's like, think about Facebook. When you start looking at the videos, you have to tap them to get them to actually play. They don't start shouting at you. If they did, Facebook would not have the success it has with video. And those are bloated numbers anyway. I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, this is a transactional offer, $19 for 2 weeks. Okay, so the business is called All In Fitness, so the kind of fun little thing is, are you in? This is totally not a political endorsement in any way, shape, or form, one way or the other, just so we're clear on that. But when it was 2012 when we were thinking about naming this business, because my wife was looking to do something on the side, and I totally stole the name of it from, which is one of the most brilliantly run. Again, don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, so just remember that. But President Obama's 2012 campaign and even his 2008 campaigns, these were some of the most brilliantly run campaigns from a digital marketing standpoint ever in history and social media. Okay, so I totally stole the name from that. She doesn't know that, by the way. Now it's on record. I think I might have told her, but I'm like, how about All In Fitness? Because when you went to President Obama's landing page, it actually said, "Are you in?" It was a splash page that said, "Are you in?" And you actually had to. It's called a squeeze page. You had this. It got your name and email, and they would email you twice a day. You know. I'll still be like Bill O'Reilly, and I won't disclose how I voted. But anyway, so are you in? That's kind of plays into the name of the business. And then this is actually something you got to remember. If you're ever going to do transactional offers online where you're going to take a payment, this is a good strategy because you can, for example, if you ever got to that point where you wanted to, you guys probably have the resource to do this, but you wanted to kind of book the first session right there and get a payment. You could do that. And how you do it though is you wouldn't click there, go to the sale page to buy it. That's called suicide. You have to have a middle point. Okay, so whose head is in the way? Somebody's head, but that's okay. It's all right, Laura, you're good. But what I wanted to show you was name, email, and phone number. No, you're good. You're fine. You're fine. It's just the nature of the room. It's cozy, which is why. Imagine if I took 10 people. Maybe you guys be throwing your sandwiches at me. And then you hit submit. Now that gives us the information. Because
They don't pay there?
they don't pay here.
I can't read what it says, I'm trying to.
It's all right. I'll tell you. All right. We're good. It says, well, I'll read you. It says get 2 weeks of unlimited classes, just $19. Try us out. Sample as many classes as you can. No obligation. Be our guest. Be our guest. Be our guest. And people know that. Get started. Fill out the form below. And then so it's very clear. You have to be like, it's called the Homer Simpson test. If Homer Simpson won't understand it, no one else will. Okay, he drops his drink and he's like, oh man, I don't want to pick that up. Okay, it has to pass the Homer Simpson test. Everything that you don't care how sophisticated you think your clients and prospects are, they are not, and they're less sophisticated because we all walk around like monkeys peeling grapes all day, doing this. So, unfortunately, the IQs are going down and down, and all of us, me included, right? So it has to be simple. Name, email, phone number. We get that information. Then we forward them on to the checkout page. And here's the reality is you can get 10 of these, and only 2 or 3 will finish the buy. And that's called shopping cart abandonment. And it's not your fault. It's not our fault. It's just life, right? It's just life. It's interesting. The people in retail, like the big dogs, like the Amazons of the world, big e-commerce websites, they say shopping cart abandonment is $1 billion problem, meaning $1 billion worth of goods go unsold because they get left in shopping carts. Mm-hmm. So technically, when the 10 people come through here and the 7 don't follow through and actually whip out their wallet, it's technically called shopping cart abandonment. But it's cool because we're not really worried about it because we can follow up with them anyway. And I don't necessarily know if it's $1 billion problem because they didn't buy it anyway. I mean, just imagine if 25 years ago, 30 years ago, before e-commerce, all the local retailers were browsing abandonment. Oh gosh, people are coming in and browsing, and it's $1 billion problem. So they were just browsing. They didn't buy it. They may never buy it. It's cool, but don't be crying about it.
Now like you go to Walmart, fill up the cart.
Yeah, but sometimes you browse. You don't necessarily buy everything on the trip.
Do it to see if you'll get a better offer. If they'll email you a better offer.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things. So I wouldn't necessarily call it $1 billion. It's called $1 billion problem, but I think that's overstated.
Works well in travel.
And yes, if you have remarketing code on your website. So let me keep going. Oh, hold on, my Google Calendar prompted something. Come on now.
All right, I have a third thing of chips or the other half of my sandwich.
There we go. Okay. All right, so that was what I wanted to cover kind of on the online thing, right? The different types of offers, and then really just kind of dig in deep into really scrutinizing your offers and never be satisfied. All right. So in the interest of time, here's some other strategies on getting leads. I mean, you could get leads really anywhere. You can open up a dialogue. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of the elevator pitch. And sometimes I'll kind of toss someone a layup for me to become their lead as well. Like for instance, I was at a chamber event and I was talking to a woman who owns a farm, and we were just talking about her different products and stuff like that, and farm to table and all that the whole concept. And she did it to me. She was like, hey, we do send out an email newsletter. I'd love to add you. And I'm like, yeah, here, sure. It's right on my business card. Add me. So she was being smart about that. You know, she was basically using that time to add. I wouldn't necessarily call myself a lead, but at least I'm seeing her. Not that I open it each time, but at least I'm seeing it every single time. So maybe next year when we're in the pumpkin picking season or apple picking season, I might say to my wife, "Hey, why don't we go over to Miles Smith Farm? I keep getting emails from this woman. You know, she seems to. I respect business owners that are on the ball. You know, I don't respect the ones that are kind of like, you know, crying their soup about, you know, staying in contact with them. Well, leave me alone. You know, power off. Well, that's great. All right. No, I have it right here. So discuss that, and let me plug this in here. So we're transitioning anyway. It's got a fun little battery backup here.
So I'm thinking, as what other people just talked about there, I'm thinking about for me, it would be the art lessons and having a way for people to pay for the art lessons immediately, online. I mean, I can send people, and I'm all tech loaded, I can send them an invoice and then they can just pay right from the invoice. You don't have to like come to me and pay, but the immediacy of being able to pay right then and there. Stuff with Mike and other web folks that I've talked about, that I sell originals. When that original is sold, it's sold. It would be horrible for me to be selling it to somebody in person and then get an email just saying that somebody just paid to buy it. I can't do that. I do have a place where they can go and they can click and they can order prints and stuff right there on my website.
Yeah, I would say that, not that, I mean, certainly, this format kind of lends itself to more of a, not that I'm a business consultant really, but as far as, certainly lends itself to beyond some of the things that you could do in a situation like that. You know, might be obviously if you are, I mean, e-commerce is in a way is a little overrated for the small business crowd. I mean, to think that,
It's
you know,
expensive.
you have to be, you know, have a website that's, you know, that's can sell things online is not necessarily true. But you just have to be strategic if you are gonna go that route. It really is not that expensive actually to put a nice e-commerce website together. There's a little more upkeep and stuff like that, but more of the expense actually comes in trying to get traffic to it. That's where more of the expense is in an
Yes.
e-commerce website. I mean, I laugh at, you know, I sometimes out loud and sometimes in my head, laugh at folks often, who, you know, are like, yeah, I'm gonna start an e-commerce business and I'm gonna sell, you know, commodities, same commodity that's available on Amazon. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
My brother wanted to do that, he just wanted to jump on the bandwagon and sell.
Maybe we did it in 1997.
Sell like, do nothing, sell, do
Yeah,
nothing
you
and
know,
bring
the
in
whole-
the money, right.
The make money in your sleep thing.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a
That's
unique
the
product,
Quick scheme, right?
if you have a unique
doesn't
product,
But cheesy.
then you could,
That's why I'm trying it.
you know, you could do it. I mean, if you have a unique product, you could do it, and possibly you have a line that's only available online, you know, and then that could
Yeah.
lead to being commissioned for a much larger, higher dollar product too. Because everything sort of fits in, these are like, you know, it's like these little things like falling into place, or, I don't know, like lottery balls or something like that, where everything kind of bounces around and then it kind of finds its little spot.
Yeah.
So the transactional offer for you on a low price might not make sense, but even at a fair price, that leads itself, doesn't mean it's not an original, because it's available on your website, but it lends itself to being commissioned to paint an original. Because the value of that first transaction is really key. All right, so we're back on, so as a kid was
You're
saying,
really the only one that
epic
has a
fail.
product and a service.
Yeah,
Which is
mine's,
cool.
mine's
The rest of us
developing,
are all service
I'm
industries.
developing a home study course.
Right.
It's an online webinar course, and then, that'll be recorded, and then that'll be an evergreen product, and then that hopefully would lead into the 6-month coaching.
Yeah, you know, I mean, 8 years ago, I almost, in a way, started this company, you know, with a $147 product. You know, that actually more than 8 years, 10 years ago. I remember I was actually closing on my house in Philadelphia, and when I made my first sale online in 2006, where someone bought the course I was selling for $147. It was a course on, it was for martial arts school owners, and it was about how to teach introductory lessons. And bring somebody in.
Okay,
And
yeah.
there was- so, but anyway, yeah, I mean, almost the whole business really started with that, you know, with that product, basically. So anyway, there's definitely room there to develop, you know, that intellectual property.
Right.
And what you just have to know is that most of the spend
Yeah,
is gonna come in buying of the advertising to get someone to the website.
right, and using it for you.
Yeah, and yeah, well, exactly, so that's where most of the effort really is.
Yeah.
Now, with what I did, you know, I used some affiliates in a particular industry, and then really worked hard to be kind of a miser in the offline world, right? And this is what we're gonna talk about now, is lead generation online. So the woman at the farm, where we left off, sort of made this little elevator pitch to get on her, her list. But what you can do in every situation, is you wanna have, I mean, email is the easiest way to do it. But certainly you could be doing snail mail, you could be doing, you know, some gurus have called these, you know, shock and awe packages and things like that. There's a lot of things you can do when you're having a conversation with somebody in a networking scenario to, in a gentle way, sort of make an offer to them. Does that make sense? So if we're doing a show, a trade show, and I'm talking with business owners, or Chuck's talking with B2B, and let's say he's offering, you know, a lot of business owners struggle with content, you know, and they, you know, and their philosophy is, you know, writing content is easy, just set that onto a keyboard and slit your wrist. You know, that's what they think.
Or how you're cooked
If-
to happy.
yeah, if he's doing a,
I don't think that though, right? I mean, it's the same thing.
if he's at an event, you know, he's either, maybe he's got a trade show booth, or he's just at a chamber event or something like that, and it elevates to the point where he hears a pain. And he hears the pain of, you know, this website, this blogging stuff, this social media stuff. And he has this intellectual offer, this not transactional, consultative offer, that he says, well, hey, you know, something that I do is I basically assess your content across your social media and your web properties and give you a score. You know, it's a content score. Well, my score is gonna be bad. Well, you don't know that just yet. You know? And basically, well, what do I need for that? What do I need for that?
It's a free assessment.
Well, I need to, all I need is your name, your email, and your phone number. Well, that's on my business card. Well, here's what I'll do. When I get back to the office, I'll put you down, okay, for that, and you'll get an email from me. Now, that email is already canned and automated and set up and ready to go. In whatever your email program is, or your lead capture, or your website, whatever it is, it's already ready to go. And he just gets back and, you know, he separates his business cards from the trade show or from the event. Pocket here is just people he talked to that he may just give a call, hey, what's going on? And then people here are the less amount that say, yeah, I'll take your content assessment. Does that make sense? And they'll take the ones with the content assessment, and he'll either give them to his secretary or his assistant. And if he doesn't have one of those, he'll ask his kid. And if he doesn't have one of those, he'll do it himself. All right? And just put those in. It'll generate the email. That email will go into the CRM, the email marketing software for forever follow-up. And it'll basically say, hey, Mike, it was nice connecting with you recently. Or you can even have a form that says, it was nice connecting with you at blah, 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 trade show, and fill that in, and we'll just spit that, my software does it, just spits it back out. Thanks for requesting your content assessment. We have everything we need, and you'll hear from us in whatever you want to put, 3 days or 4 days or something like that. So they get that email right away, and then he just puts a note in his calendar to call this person back in a few days and say, hey, we got that assessment, we want to go through it. How that applies to my business, you know, if I'm out there networking or something like that, or at a show or something, you know, we've offered online marketing assessments, you know, SEO assessments, 48-point web marketing inspections, you know, all these different things, and it's the same idea. It's you're talking to that person, you're separating the business cards, and you're putting them here. Now, they didn't go to your website or anything like that. You went to your website and punched them in. You need to have that at the ready, so you're ready to go. You know, what is tapping? I don't know, Mike. I here's what I have. I have a white paper or a report that's very easy to read.
Has to be sure.
That's very easy to read, that explains, you know, the 7 points of what it is. And if you want, I'll send that to you. Please do. So I can figure out if it's actually something, or maybe there's a video, like I've done for reputation software. I've done a video, 6 minutes of here's some tips on how to improve your online reputation.
I think a video of Kathy would be huge.
Yeah.
Just a short clip.
It's on my YouTube channel.
You just wanna have it at the ready to send
Yeah.
to someone, you know, to get their permission and follow all of them. And that's what I, you know, kind of found this stock photo on the elevator pitch, and it wasn't really the best one, but, because there's no elevator. But anyway, so you can't have any lead generation event, without having a blurry slide, actually the slide's not blurry, I think if it's closer,
Yeah, I think if you put it on the table.
yeah, I think, but yeah, we can look at that next
Bigger
time.
project.
Yeah, $700. You know, I wanted my own projector, and I definitely wasn't spending $500 to $700 or something. Now, if I did something else, like make coffee or something, I'd consider it. But, okay, so Facebook. Here's what you want to think about in your Facebook ads. How's your neck? All right, because you're moving along.
Yeah, I'm okay.
All right, good. I'll stand back here sometimes. So this here, you know, there's the ad. This is just an internal example, just from my own business. So it's targeting, you know, the martial arts world, where we basically turn around their website in 72 hours. It's just a test product in one market, not something that we've rolled out for everybody. And they have to do it totally online. They get no conversations with us at all. I had a chat with someone who called me about it. It's like, well, wait a minute, you know, I thought it was, you know, this much, you know, blah, blah, blah. We talked about that before. I'm like, yeah, you know, when I went on the Disney cruise, we were on the concierge floor. We were on the concierge floor, which was great. I don't know how my wife finds these deals, but she found us a deal on the concierge floor. We can go, we can get snacks at certain hours of the day. I think we got some better treatment, but I'll tell you what, man, it wasn't because we're a good-looking family. It was because we paid more.
Yeah.
So, you know, like you have the two options. You have this option if you want us to just redo your martial arts school website and you just want something simple and easy. You give us all the information, but you don't talk to us. And it's that price. And if you want something more elaborate, you know, I can work you up a more detailed, hands-on proposal where you'll have several conversations with us. Well, yeah. Concierge floor, big difference. So anyway, there's your flow. And all of your stuff, there's your flow. One thing I want to tell you too is your Facebook. You should, everyone who's doing lead generation, you should test this. Facebook lead ads. This is where you totally skip the landing page. This is where Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, you know, put Mike and Chuck out of business, right? Because there's no landing page at all to do. You can actually collect a lead right on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I've run some tests where I wasn't happy with the quality of leads, and I didn't come back to it yet. But I definitely got more quantity.
What is a Facebook lead?
Yep, I'll tell you right now. So this is important.
Funny, I should ask.
This will be the new part for you. So the Facebook lead ad is basically for businesses that are not going to sell anything, just want to basically generate a lead. And it's just an objective in the very basic Facebook ads editor. And here's the flow of it. Basically, you're not sending them to a landing page. You're making your offer, free wedding consult, whatever the case may be, free content marketing assessment, whatever the case may be, learn with tap, you know, whatever the case may be, and Facebook is giving you the form. Okay, because then all of this hinges on what's called a web form. Everybody knows that, right? Someone clicks here, let's go. This is another little takeaway. You want to submit. Change that up from time to time. The buttons can be manipulated. You don't have to say submit.
May I
Right.
suggest
That makes sense?
if you can go right from your phone to your computer, why don't you just go to Facebook and show that to us next time you do this?
Yeah, I could. It just involves me being on the internet and actually,
Gotcha.
you know, that stuff. So, but you'll still get the blurriness depending on where the projector is. But you know, this is just one little sidebar rabbit hole. You can change your buttons and calls to action, right? Click here, let's go. Click here, or just let's go, as opposed to, you know, you have a form that says submit. I think on the one I showed you with the fitness business, it said get by 2 weeks. You can manipulate those buttons, right?
So a lead ad is,
Yep. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
is it build your audience, but I'm saying in Facebook, it got promote your website, promote your business, promote your page, boost your post, promote sign up button. Which one of those is it?
Maybe it's not on your app, but I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
So it's generate leads is the objective.
Huh.
Okay, then that takes you to an area where, you're basically gonna first build your form, I think, don't quote me on this, I haven't used it that much. So you're gonna build your form, and it's basically gonna ask you, what data do you wanna collect? I always go for mobile phone, okay, as well. I go for name, email, and mobile phone number, or phone number. I was told by an internet marketing guru 8 years ago when I started, this was actually Joe Vitale Coaching. They were trying to recruit me, because I can put my name in to do it. Not that I have anything bad to say about Joe Vitale, but he had hired a coaching company, and they say that's not really Joe Vitale. So anyway, they're like, hey, we can teach you this internet marketing stuff. Let's look at one of your landing pages. And the guy was like, well, you can get more leads if you stop asking for people's phone numbers. And I'm like, I'm not gonna stop asking for people's phone
Yeah,
numbers,
that's
ever.
what that.
Ever. I don't care if I get less leads. I'd rather have less leads that actually give a phone number, than not. So that's just me saying, I'm not gonna take what you're saying, hook, line, and sinker. I'm gonna do it my way, even if it means less leads. So anyway, I always go for name, email, and phone number. And then from there, Facebook will wanna see your privacy policy. So you do have to, I'm not recommending this, I'm not a lawyer, but there's plenty of canned privacy policies on the web. Okay, you can find them, they're everywhere. But Facebook will want to see your privacy policy. It's basically gonna say something that you're gonna not share the information,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. Again, mines were approved, my privacy policies were approved, there was no kickback, my ads worked, so just did one for a client yesterday, a lead ad, his privacy policy, I didn't even read it, Facebook accepted it. So it might be one step beyond, well, you just kind of have to see something, Hey, Kyle Daz is calling me. But anyway, so you have your privacy policy, and then you do like any other Facebook, you do your targeting, right? Who do you want? People in Hudson, Merrimack, whatever, you do your targeting, your geographic, your demographics, your psychographic, what they like, what they don't like, all that stuff. And then from there, you craft your offer, which we've been talking about. But my side-by-side test for a day, $10 per ad, $10 spent on one, $10 spent on another. Wasn't this product, it was a different product. 10 lead ads, using 10 leads using the lead ad, and the same day 4 using the landing page. And all it tells you is that Facebook removing the step of someone going for a landing page, people fall off at different steps. That's just the way it is.
Right.
There's nothing any of us can do about it. They're gonna fall off. So 10 people who saw that, hey, that looks cool, whatever, yeah, I'll do that. Those 10 people or whatever click, and since Facebook is making it easy, it actually populates the field for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't fill anything out. It's already populated. They take their name, they take their email, and they take their phone number associated with it. They already know.
Did they take their Facebook email, that weird
No,
email
just
that
whatever
nobody
email,
ever uses?
the email is associated with their Facebook account that
Okay,
they use.
all right.
And then from there, that's it. And then you can send them to your website if you want after that. And then Facebook stores the data for you in an area of your page. They don't actually send you the lead, like a web form would do. They don't send you the lead, you have to go find it, to go back like, daily and look for it.
And then
You can export it in the CSV file.
and then import it into UCR.
Yeah, so, the reason why I stopped is because I'm in the middle of actually hiring an assistant now, but the reason why I stopped is because I was manually taking the leads and putting them into as if they went to the landing page anyway, basically. And what am I gonna do with them? I do something with them. Otherwise, I'm gonna forget about them, like forever. So that's what I was doing. So I had to stop the test because I didn't wanna do that the next day times 10, unfortunately. Because I didn't have time to do it. But if you're running the business where, like you can call, make the quote, make the conversation, something like that, it's worth it, because I'll still follow up on those leads.
If you call them, what would you say? I noticed you clicked a Facebook ad and,
Yeah, just basically say this, you were looking for this free quote, or you're looking for whatever the offer was.
so I'm here to.
Yeah. Yeah, So that's another, the old school, here's the old school model. That's Jules and, what's his name? Jules and Vincent. Jules and Vincent from Pulp Fiction. So, anyway.
Give me the name and number and
Yeah, exactly. So the old school way is if you are in business to business, you know, you really, you don't have to be shy about spending a certain portion of your day, you know. Here's the advice, and I think I got this from Grant Cardone, but we all kind of do, we know some of these things that are floating out there already, which is, don't talk to strangers. And Grant Cardone says, well, if you want to grow your business, you're gonna have to talk to strangers. So you really have to go against mommy's advice about not talking to strangers, right? So you walk in on those galleries, you know, as you keep crafting your message and your offering, whatever you're talking about, here's a strategy to go on cold calling or cold prospecting in general, whether you're walking in or calling new counselors, whatever the case may be. Here's how you marry the lead generation principles. Is your first, if it's applicable, your first conversation, most of the time should be short. You shouldn't expect to ink a deal for tutoring the first time you get that that guide, whatever that person is on the line. Yeah, you know, so it's the same idea as the talking to somebody and saying, okay, and that you're different piles. You have a similar offer, but your offer is just in words, right? So your offer, if you're in, and this is mainly in business to business. Unfortunately, you can't do this in consumer marketing. But all of us in here have a B2B component where we could actually call a business. You know, you could make cold calls by actually looking at old, really bad, like just imagine it wasn't the projector that is doing this in the photo, but this was actually somebody's website, and this was the quality of photos they had, and they were trying to sell $10,000 home remodels. You could cold call 5 of those a day, and I guarantee that you would probably pick up a couple clients every month, just that would say, I would love if someone could come and look at our kitchen remodels and take actually quality photos that we can use online, because we're just taking with our iPhone that's not working. So all of us, even though you're heavily consumers, you know, everyone has in here at least has a business-to-business component, and cold calling is totally legal. You know, you can't really call somebody's house on the do not call list, and that's kind of annoying anyway. But in business-to-business settings, I mean, those contractors, they're getting calls anyway. You know, so to get a relevant call from somebody who's like, hey.
Well, I get tons of
sidewalk
calls over there all the time.
Yeah, but you just have to have your offer to match, you know? Your offer's gonna match, and then you should have a system to follow up automatically. Meaning the email goes
That's a
out,
good idea.
the CRM goes out, some sort of information goes out. Maybe there's a website out there where your photos live on it, you know?
What's CRM?
Customer relationship management software
Oh,
usually,
oh,
that's what I
oh,
say.
constant contact.
It's just something that.
It's really used for sales, sales prospecting and managing leads and helping.
Something that basically helps you not lose people.
Yeah.
You know, if you're busy enough, people are gonna slip through the cracks anyway, but at least they slip through and they fill in one crack and you can go get it.
You can find out where they are in the buying cycle, you know, because the CRM forces you to put them in the right categories.
Is that software that I buy or software that I contract
Like
with somebody to use?
Salesforce.com is the biggest one.
But I mean, that would be software that I would.
It's a software as a service.
Like constant contact.
Constant Contact is
yeah.
just an email software,
But
it's
it's
not
not
necessarily a
automated,
CRM.
I've been looking for something that'd be automated.
Hey, here, give you an example, so.
There's
Or
some
on
free
report.
ones, Sugar, look into Sugar, I think there's a really, there are some robust CRMs that are free.
Sugar, Sugar just
Sugar
like
used to
sugar.
make one, but it was called something.
Yeah, I think they changed the name.
You know, Sugar is like the corporate.
Here's the value of what we're talking about as far as following up, okay? Definitely the business is definitely in the follow-up.